Those are really the two big ones that I definitely want to spend a lot of time on. I'll take you through the settings that you find in season management in the upper right. So we're going to look at all of those settings, take a look at reports as well. And at the end of a race night, I want to give a special focus on the points and payout schemes, as well as that create payments button and how that interacts with the 1099 report. I'm going to take a short look at the advanced championship calculations, and then I'm going to do a little segment using MRP Live and how it ties in with Race Manager with Westhold. I'll do that same thing tonight at 7:30 on how it ties in with Orbits as well with MyLaps. But this one I'll focus on Race Manager specifically. So with that, we'll jump in. We'll get right started here. And I'm going to go directly to registrations. There are 3 different registration types that I want to show you. There is an annual or yearly registration. There is an event-specific registration, and then there's a general registration as well. In name, you can kind of see the differences between the 3. But if you're going to do a once-a-year annual registration for your entire season, it's steer you towards the yearly registration. If you have one individual event that you want drivers to register for, you can I point you towards an event registration. And then the general registration is basically anything that you want to use beyond that. With COVID, I've seen folks use that for pit passes because they can only have so many people in the pits. I've seen online tickets used for that as well, but that's one thing we saw. A pit party, or something like potentially something like a banquet or something like that. We've seen those as well. So a couple of different reasons to use the general registration, but that's there. I'm going to create a registration here. I'm going to use the event-specific registration just as an example, so I can show you all of the options and all of the things that go into that. I already have a yearly registration, so again, event-specific. It will ask you for the date of your event that you're doing the registration for. So you type that in. Perfect. Title of registration. Again, if it's an event registration, it's probably going to be the name of the event or something like that, but you do have to title it. You can charge entry fees in your registrations. You can do that for both annual and for event specific. The entry fee, and I'll kind of give you a little short synopsis on where the money goes and things of that nature. Driver enters for your event. They're forced to pay that fee. They pay that fee. We collect those funds, and then we send those funds to you immediately upon confirmation of the registration to you via your PayPal account. So if you want to charge people to register, whether it's yearly or event specific, definitely want to have a PayPal account set up. And then all we would need from you at that point is the email address associated with that PayPal account. You can obviously see here as well, there's a date that it opens, a date that it closes. If you're going to have some kind of late fee, for registering the week of the event or something like that, you can charge that late fee as well. So we'll go ahead and add that. And there's your event registration for our May 1st event that's going on. You can add additional information that you want drivers to see when they register right here as well. And then it can be differentiated per class as well. So if you're running multiple classes that night, all of the classes that you're running will show up here in your registration. You can make it active for certain classes if you only need certain classes to register. And you can also tack on top of the price for individual classes. So if you're, scaling your registration fees, if your modifieds are, $100 to register and your street stocks are $50 to register, you would make your entry fee $50 and then add on an extra $50 of additional price there for your modifieds to get to that $100 charge. So you can charge every class a different amount if that's what you want to do. Fairly straightforward, fairly easy stuff here in terms of registration. So if you have any questions about it, definitely get a hold of me. But this is, like I said, fairly straightforward stuff. Share button at the bottom of the screen. You can utilize that to share directly to your social media accounts, Facebook and Twitter. And that'll actually take the driver directly to the registration on MyRacePass.com on your profile. This online registration button will take you to the exact same place. This is exactly what the driver is going to see when they register. Currently, we have no registrations. Why is that? Well, it's because I didn't check this box that says active. It's not active by default, but you come back here, you edit it, you make it active, and then it's available for the drivers. If you were to use the general registration for a banquet, can one driver register multiple times? One driver buying multiple tickets? Ross, if you don't mind, could I have you jump in and take that one? I don't exactly know the inner workings of the general registration and how that works. You should be able to, but I just want to verify that with Ross.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So for the general registration, you're not actually confirming them as a driver. So you're basically just taking in names. So yes, they would be able to register multiple times.
Perfect. Thank you. We'll go back. We'll go back here. We made that registration active. We saved it. Come back here and refresh my screen. There is now a registration. So I'll take you through this quickly as well, so you can see exactly what the driver sees when they're going in to register for an event or register with Wasota or whatever else. We'll click register here. I'm going to register as a modified driver, as a new competitor. There we go. I will not import previous registration data, but just so you're aware, if the driver is registered in the past for anything else, all of that data will be saved so they don't have to type it in a second time. So if I were to input this data, I would hit continue, I would hit finish, and it would literally take me a minute and a half to do any registration out there. Because I'm not going to import it from previous so you can see the entire process, it'll take a little bit longer. But literally it's just in here typing in your name, your address, city, country, all of those things. So that way the racetrack has access to your address for mailing purposes, especially for 1099 purposes, any emergency contact information, any competitor information. It asks for gender. It asks for jacket size in here, which I'm not sure how relevant that'll be to everybody, but if at your banquet you're giving your champions jackets, you don't have to go any further to find their information there. All of that stuff that you would basically need to gather as a racetrack, they're going to be forced to enter here. If they have a team owner on their race car, if they're not the car owner, they'll be able to put in their owner information right here as well and select the default payout recipient, driver owner. So if you can get your folks to register in advance, a lot of the information that you're going to need to collect from them when they enter at your back gate is going to be there already. We make them request multiple numbers to try to help with removing duplicates. And if they're, again, they don't have to put in the amount of time that they've raced, but if you're going to do anything like rookie points or any rookie awards, it's good to know that they're going to be a rookie in the class. If they have their own transponder, they'll put in the transponder number, and that will start as the default for you guys when you enter in the back gate, and also any emergency information as well. So we'll continue through that, and you can sign in. It's my birthday. If anybody wants to reach out to me on July 11th, that'd be great. Confirm it's correct, agree to the terms, complete registration. So I had to fill it out this time, but you can see how fast it would be for drivers to be able to do this if they're doing it more than one time. Really convenient for them. You know how drivers are sometimes afraid of change, and they're going to stomp their feet, and they're going to yell and scream and all of those things. But if you can just get them to do that, they're going to see how easy it is, and we're going to get through things pretty quickly here. So I've registered for this event. I come back here to my registrations page as the track, be able to see in Wasota Modifieds, there's a registration for this event. The confirmation process is fairly quick here, and I'll kind of show you this as well. It'll list the information, the address, the phone number, their email address, the date of birth, all those things that they want. Competitor is the owner, so there's no owner information down here. You would type in the name here of the driver, and you'll be able to link it to their driver profile that way. Pretty straightforward. If this is a situation where the person who's registered has never raced before or doesn't have a profile, you can also create a new one from here. Although actually what we're finding is a lot of drivers are reaching out to us after they register, so they have their profile ready before the first race night. So that's been kind of nice. But you can create a profile for them right there. Put in their default number. If they want, allow duplicate entry. I don't particularly see a reason for that, but it's available for you. And then has all forms is a brand new feature we've rolled out here in about the last month. Everybody does, you're going to have paper forms that the drivers are going to have to turn in that are basically saved outside of MyRacePass. Things like tax information or a pit stall registration or something like that. This is basically a yes/no check to see, have they turned in their paper forms? Have they not turned in their paper forms? And again, this is information that's collected outside of MRP. That's why there's not a page for it. There's just this yes, no checkbox. We'll say, you know, I turned in my tax data. I'm right there. That driver's confirmed. And that's the bulk of registrations. And that's really everything in it. You'll also, you know, the driver will get an email, a confirmation email telling them, hey, you've registered at this racetrack or for this event in this class, so they'll know what's going on too. It'll also contain their invoice and receipt if they had to pay for their registration, so they'll be able to have that right there. You don't have to do any work to get it to them, anything like that. So that's a lot of information quickly regarding registrations and everything that's in it. Do you guys have any questions or concerns or anything off, you know, right off the jump here about registrations or what you've seen?
I got one quick thing, Austin. I don't mean to rain on your parade there at all, but that confirming of a driver, that's going to be probably one of your first interactions with actually selecting an existing driver in the system or creating a brand new one. At this point, we have, I think, over 140,000 drivers in the system. So if you could just do us a favor, and if he's not showing up on your first search, Robert Smith, try Bob Smith. If it's not Bob Smith, try Bobby Smith. You should not have to create a brand new driver almost ever, unless that driver truly has never raced before. If he's a brand new driver and has not raced anywhere, go ahead and create a new driver. But if you're familiar with him and he's raced before, please try searching just a couple different name options, because that is crucial that you choose the right driver in order for their profile to be filled out correctly.
Yeah, the fewer duplicates that there are, the fewer hours of work you've created, you know, for us trying to merge those two drivers together, or for yourself trying to fix your points or understand, you know, why those points are wrong or anything like that. Taking a question about registration money going to ACH. It is not currently set up to do that. We do not have a way to do that currently. I don't want to say that it'll never happen, but as of right now, and you know, for the immediate future, looking into the 2021 season, registration money is going to go through PayPal. Perfect. Cool. One of the other benefits of registering your driver for an event is if we come to our 5-1 event that we registered for, and we go to our entry screen. There's a number of different ways to enter drivers, and you know, I'll go through an entire race management, start to finish, and everything like that. But you know, so you'll be able to see this entire process. But if they don't have a hard card, you can't scan their barcode. You have to go and try to search for them the same way you had to search before. But if they did pre-register for your event, they'll show up down here in your pre-registry screen. Especially if I'm in the right class, they will. And then, so if you do make your drivers pre-register for an event, they'll be able to show up right here. It'll make it a lot easier for you at the back gate to find that driver. So I can go ahead and add this driver to this event. There we go, perfect. And again, a lot of options are in here in terms of forms and addresses and owners and transponders and all of those things. Those are things that, again, I'll cover completely in depth. I believe that's even scheduled for the 7:30 session, a complete rundown of race management and everything that's in it. With registrations being complete, the next step, I would say, if you're running any kind of big event that you want people to be aware of, is adding online tickets to it so people can purchase tickets in advance. A lot of this was, just to be honest with you, because of COVID, but it's also changed the minds of a lot of racetracks that never used online tickets before. The idea behind online tickets is that when a fan shows up to your race with $40 in their pocket, statistically speaking, on average, they're going to spend close to, if not all, of that $40. So if you're charging them $20 at the gate, you also get to make $20 on merchandise and concessions and other things. If they bought their ticket in advance and still show up with that same $40, now and again, statistically, there's data to back this up, they're going to spend all $40 on concessions and merchandise and things. So online tickets is making tracks more money on race night because people still come with the same amount of money, and now they can spend it all on, you know, other things. Adding online tickets for an event is a fairly simple process. You basically choose the event that you want to add online tickets for, and you can run down a number of options here. A lot of them are pretty self-explanatory in title, but I'll still go through you know, a couple of the things. You can set the availability, when you want them to go on sale, or when you want them to be available for purchase and when you want that to end. If there's a pre-sale option, you know, when the pre-sale is, you know, when it opens up, things of that nature. The gates open and races start. When the fan is going in to purchase the tickets, they want to have that information. That will make that available to them. One that I really want to highlight is this drop-down box. If the event is canceled, what happens? You can either issue a rain check for the next event of the same type. So that's pretty nice. So you don't have to give everybody refunds at that time. You can issue rain checks or refund it if you just want them to send their money back. Now, I mentioned previously with registrations, we disperse those funds to you via PayPal. We do it a lot differently in online tickets. We do actually do ACH through online tickets. And the nice thing about that is that you don't go in and confirm that the event happened or tell us that it was postponed or canceled until, you know, after the race is over. So you race on Saturday, Monday you go in and you confirm to us, yes, this race happened, and then we ACH you those funds to your bank account. If you say that it's refunded, and this is where it's really nice, I don't think a lot of people who don't do online tickets really, you know, understand this. The refund process can be arduous and long and take time and be stressful. If you go in and tell us the race was canceled, we handle the refunds. You don't have to worry about any of that. You don't have to try to get a hold of these people or their bank account information or any of that stuff. We'll handle those refunds for you. So it's a trade-off. You don't get your money exactly when the ticket was purchased. You get it all in a lump sum after that, but you never have to worry about refunds again. So that works pretty great. And in our ACH process, we don't charge any fee for this at all. This is a feature of MyRacePass that you get when you purchase it. There's no extra, you know, cost or charge. We're not taking money from you. We'll do a small fee. And when you look at Ticketmaster, it's an incredibly small fee when the folks purchase their tickets, but we don't charge the tracks anything more to do this. In terms of the tickets that are available, I mean, if you can imagine it up, we have an option for it. And if we don't have an option for it, you can take one of our options, because we've got a lot of them, and rename it to whatever you need it to be. So if you've got, you know, your Pepsi General Reserve seats, you can rename this Pepsi General Admission, not Reserve, excuse me. But there's a lot of different ticket types that are available. If you hit active, it'll make that available for you. If you leave the number of available blank or type -1 in here, that will be an infinite number of tickets. It'll never run out. If you type in any other number, that's the number that will be sold, basically. So if you type 500 in here and the 501st person goes to buy a ticket, they'll see a message that the event has been sold out, or that particular ticket type has been sold out. So this is where you can put in your pricing and then your pre-sale price in accordance with your pre-sale time frame that you put in up there. Again, you can change those names or whatever else, and we will add those tickets. And I have to enter a price to be able to add the tickets. That makes sense, doesn't it? We're going to have a cheap racetrack, I'll tell you what. What else did I, there we go, perfect. So we added our tickets, and I, of course, added a ticket in the past, so we'll use one of the other ones that I've got here. You can take a look at your ticket information here. This blue button right here is the button that I was talking about, either get funds or fulfill refunds. So that's basically where you confirm that the race happened. What will happen is that a code will be generated. It'll be sent to the phone number of the main admin on file. That main admin's phone will then confirm, you know, whatever you're trying to say here, and that will disperse the funds to you for the tickets. You can also go in and edit all of the information that you typed in before, when their availability, you know, all of those things, the name of them, the ticket types, quantities, and pricing. You can edit that information here on available tickets. You can add in a ticket poster. So if you have some kind of event flyer that you want your fans to see when they're purchasing a ticket, you can put that right in here as well. And then the coupons are a really nice feature as well. You can add, as long as it's an image, as long as it, you know, there's not text that you can add here, but you can add an image to the back of your ticket for coupons for whatever else. So you have some big sponsor sponsoring the races that night, and they want to do 50% off oil changes at Bob's Garage. If you purchase the ticket online, you can put the coupon on there. You can do, you know, 25% off for your concession stand, whatever else, something to, you know, kind of give back to the people who are supporting you with these online tickets. You can actually add ticket coupons on ticket management for your entire season, and then add a second set of ticket coupons for an individual event that'll override that. So you don't have to go in and delete and remove if your ticket coupons are changing. You just, you know, put it in for one one event specifically. You can share the tickets directly to your social media from here, Facebook and Twitter. That's really nice as well. The ticket window feature is really nice because it'll give you an idea of who purchased tickets and if that ticket that was purchased has been redeemed or not. So you can see the redeemed tickets, and then you can see the pending tickets that have not been redeemed. You can actually export this in the sold tickets. So if you want to have that in paper, you can have it in paper as well. Put it in your ticket window. Another brand new feature that we've released regarding online tickets is, and unfortunately I can't show you this because I don't have an iPhone, but you can take an individual's email address who's going to be a ticket taker, and if you have an Apple device, there is a ticket scanner inside the app, inside the MRP app, and don't think that that's going to be the way it is forever, but right now it's just Apple devices. And so if they have an Apple device at the front gate, you can actually scan people's tickets as they come in right from the app while that person signs into the app, and it makes it super fast and slick and easy. We've had a couple of opportunities to test this at various races so far through the winter time, and it's just worked really great. It's been super fast. There is one other thing regarding online tickets that I'd like to show you, and this is probably one of the things that I'm most excited about. At online tickets, we have an entire analytics page. So let me get this racetrack who I know uses online tickets, get this up so I can show you this analytics page. There is so much demographic data in here in this ticket analytics report that it's so fun and exciting for me because it's an opportunity to show racetracks. Maybe I'm marketing the wrong way. Maybe I should market here instead of there, things of that nature. So this ticket analytics page, the first thing you see at the top of the screen is a heat map. Where people are coming from that are buying tickets to your race, with some other information in terms of unique customers, the number of tickets sold, things of that nature. It lists the cities, but metropolitan area based on zip code that you're selling tickets to. So if I'm this racetrack in Rock Rapids, Iowa, and I'm doing a lot of radio advertising in Marshall, Minnesota, thinking that that's the right thing to do, I would come in here and look at this and see, oh, actually Sioux Falls and Laverne and Sioux Center are way up here. Maybe that would dictate to me how I'm using my radio advertising money. Maybe I should advertise a little bit differently in different places, things of that nature. Distance traveled is in here. Purchase dates are in here. How far in advance are they purchasing your ticket? Purchase prices, which is basically showing you the ticket types that are being purchased. Again, ticket types here. Age demographic, gender demographic, tickets sold by event, and you can actually view the ticket analytics in your event analytics for each individual event as well. So if you're having a big modified race and then a big late model race and then you have sprint cars, you can take those 3 different events, look at the ticket analytics for each event, and start to draw some conclusions about the demographics of people who are coming to your racetrack, buying tickets in advance, and maybe market your events differently based on what's there and what's coming. At the bottom of this screen, there's also a print report button that will give you information about the people who are purchasing the tickets, including their email addresses. So if you have some kind of like MailChimp or some kind of email marketing platform and you're having a monster truck show, and now the next time you have a monster truck show, you want to market directly to those people, you can do it that way as well. So a lot of really cool stuff here in ticket analytics. I think stuff that we're really excited about being able to share, putting more tools in the hands of the promoters. Before we move on, does anybody have any questions about tickets or the analytics or anything like that? Okay. With that, we'll move on to the settings tab. And there's a lot of different things in settings, so I'll kind of show you some of them. We'll start with the first one, lineup settings. This is an opportunity for you to look through all of our lineups, all of the lineups that exist within the program, and select the ones that you want to show for you conveniently. When you go to calculate lineups, there's a My Lineups tab and an All Lineups tab. You want to make sure that the lineups that you plan to run on any given race night are selected here, so you don't have to go scrolling through this giant list on race night when you're calculating the lineups and try to find the one that you want. Come in here. There's an information bubble next to many of them, so you can see exactly what they do. There's a sandbox for each one of your profiles, so you can test different lineup things, things of that nature, whatever else. A lot of different stuff here going on, so it's definitely something you want to check out. The next setting that I'll show you is the points and pay schemes. This is definitely a good idea to do before race night. You don't want to get your races over in a checkered flag at midnight and then still have to type in for, 100 cars or whatever, exactly how many points they got and exactly how much they got paid for each event. I mean, you want to make sure you have this done in advance. There's a lot of global lineup options that are in here as well. You can see the IMCA, USRA, Wasoda's got some as well for lineup options. So potentially you've already got what you need in here. But you can also create your own and add a scheme if you want to do something different. I'll show you the championship one first. It's pretty easy, pretty self-explanatory stuff to work through. And this is for your points at the end of the night, calculating points. If you want basically start points, what are your start points? If you want non-start points, for a did not start a DNS, what you got there. The minimum number of races, before they can start accruing points, it shows up there. But we'll add a breakdown. We'll add our A feature lineups, if you want to show up points or not. And if you want passing points to go towards your season championship, you can put that in there. I usually just leave that blank. Pretty self-explanatory stuff in here. You have the opportunity to edit the passing points, modifiers based off of DNFs or DQs, or if you want to do different things there. A deduction if you don't have a minimum number of competitors, that type of thing. But this is really, really simple and easy and fast. I mean, if I'm going to give 100 points to the winner and I'm going to decrease by 3 every position all the way through my 24 starters, there we go. You've decreased them by 3 all the way through there. And you can see how this is valuable, because I sure wouldn't want to sit there at 1 o'clock in the morning after writing my post-race recap and type 99, tab, 96, tab, 93, tab. Might as well just have a one-click scheme that you can look at and make it easy for yourself that way. The payouts option will be very, very similar in the way that it looks, but it'll obviously be for money instead of for points. So we'll add our breakdown here. We'll add our A feature breakdown. Of course, you can add points and pay for every single event that you run, A, B, C feature, heat races, qualifying, whatever. As long as you race it, you can add points or pay for it. But you'll see this is very, 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 very similar in terms of the payout pays breakdown. So if my race is 500 to win, I'm going to decrease it by $50 every position. I'm going to pay out, I don't know, 24 spots. Bang. There's your payouts. Of course, you're going to run out of money after 10th, but you can edit this. You can make it the way that you want it, and you can save that. And then you can use that on race night and just click, this scheme instead of typing it all in one by one throughout the course of the evening. We'll jump into manage classes. That's the next setting up here. Manage classes is used for me for two big reasons. First, if you have a class sponsor and you want to recognize that class sponsor, basically in the app, in your profile, on your website, if you've got one, you can do that right here. So if my 410 wing sprint cars are going to be the Bob's Garage 410s, put that in the name override for class, and now on the app and everywhere fans look, it's the Bob's Garage sprint cars. It's not just the 410 sprint cars. On the flip side of that coin, if you have a different title for your class, or if you run a class that we don't have built into the program with the title, you can change one of our class names to fit your needs. So if you call your super stocks pony stocks, boom, nobody will ever know that you call them super stocks now. They're going to be pony stocks everywhere. That way your drivers don't get confused and you don't have to try to, create a class name or something like that. This also gives the opportunity to edit some things like kill draws and transponders and things of that nature. But I'll tell you, it's a little bit easier to manage those things inside of race management. So if you check back when we do that race management walkthrough, then you'll be able to see where to do those things. Some of the other things inside of settings, you can manage drivers from settings. Managing drivers, that you're not deleting a driver or his information or anything like that from here. You're basically just deleting any defaults that you put in. And if you have a website through us, there's a drivers tab on many of the websites. The drivers that have raced with you previously show up on that drivers tab. If you don't want one of them to show up, you delete them here. You click the red X and then they're gone. And that's the primary use for that tab. The contact list I'll show you as well. The contact list is now where you're starting to manage a lot more of the driver's data. If they haven't registered with you or you don't have their address for whatever reason, you can type their address in here for their primary address. Same thing for contact info, emergency contacts, whatever else. This is where you would go and manage this data for drivers, for team owners as well. You can switch over to the team or to the team tab, and it'll show you all the team owner information. So you can make sure that you've got the information that you need when you're doing 1099s at the end of the year, and that's pretty valuable. The other item in settings is registration messages. This kind of uses the format of our old super pages, which, just to be completely honest, I don't expect you guys to be web designers. So if you want to start editing and messing around with some of this stuff, I would absolutely recommend that you reach out to us at support@myracepass.com and say, this is what I want to do. Can you help me make that happen? I would not recommend, unless you have some web design or experience or background, that you start messing with these pages. It's just a lot easier to come to us first. So I'm really not going to go through in detail what each of these things mean. I'm going to tell you, if you want to do something here, let us know and we'll help. I'm going to jump through reports fairly quickly here. The nice thing about our reports is that there's a small description of the things that are inside of that report underneath all of the report titles. So if you start having questions or concerns about what's in there, you're looking for something specific, that'll definitely help. I'm not going to go through every one of the reports because there's a lot of them in here. I'll just kind of highlight some of them that are going to be, pretty useful for you guys. If you're renting out transponders, the transponder list is going to be valuable because it'll tell you if a driver rented the transponder or not. You know who to go to chase down after the event is over. So that's kind of nice. Average pill draw. I don't know, if somebody's yelling at you about, the pill draw not being fair, I guess you can run that one. I mean, the pill draw is completely random, but we have that. So you can see everybody's pill draw every night. You can also see their point average every night. We got some point average reports as well. Points by date, pay by date. So you can look at the individual points and payout for every individual event. Again, point averages, 1, 2, and 3 night point averages. Those are nice. Before I get too far, I want to take a look at some of the lineup reports. Some of these reports are pretty nice because you can, print off the lineups. A lot of announcers or a lot of people like to have paper lineups. If you're interested in paper lineups, you can, click on the lineup name and see put everybody in a paper lineup in that format, print that off for whoever needs it. That's kind of a nice feature as well. I know a lot of people still prefer paper lineups. My advice is to, know what you want to know and then come in here and look at the descriptions and take a look at those things because they're going to be valuable. There's going to be some that you never look at. There's going to be some that are valuable. One that I would like to highlight is this yearly payout report. At the end of your race management, at the end of the night, there's a Create Payments button. The Create Payments button pushes your payout information to this 1099 report. So we're going to take a look at this. Here we are. So you'll be able to see for every single driver and every single owner that you pay, $600 and up, or everybody, $600 and up obviously would come into play for tax situation. The event that they raced, the amount that they made, how much money that they made that night, and in the main frame of the report at the very top, also list their address right next to them, so you have a good idea. If you got to send them 1099s, you need their address. This is how much money they made. It makes that process a little easier. You guys know, I'm sure, we don't gather social security number information. We don't have a secure server to be able to do that. So all of the information that's in this report, you can export it here in the upper right-hand corner into an Excel sheet. You can combine that with the social security number that you have stored elsewhere, and you can use all of that information to send out your 1099s. Everything is here that you need except for the social security number. So that's, again, a quick view at reports. I'm not going to go through each and every single one of these reports. A lot of them are self-explanatory in title and description. But if you need something, get a hold of us. We can direct you towards a report, or we can get you the information that might not be in the report or whatever else. I'm going to next take a look at the advanced championship calculations. This is going to be a pretty short overview of it. I'll expound on this in a later session. But the advanced championship calculation will allow you to do things like if you're running 20 events and you only want the top 18 points nights that the driver gets, if you want to throw out his worst 2 nights, this will allow you to throw out his worst 2 nights, other things like that. Keith, all of our reports can be exported into Excel. If you click on that report and you take a look at the data, it can all be exported into Excel. Any one of our reports can. In terms of adding an advanced championship calculation, I'll kind of add one up here quick. You'll set your time range that you want this calculation to take place. You can't set a rule here, but I'll show you where to create a rule. We'll add this championship calculation here, and then now we will change your selected rules and add a new rule set. And this is where you're gonna take your competitor's top 18 events or 12 events or 10 events or whatever, or you can drop their worst events. Calculate points for rookie competitors only if you want an only rookie. Calculation or whatever. Your point multiplier, if you're going to do some kind of championship night where you multiply points, you can do it that way. And again, age cutoffs. If you want to have a seniors only points champion or something like that, you can do it that way. So there's a number of options in here. Again, I didn't go through them all in detail, but that's what those advanced championship calculations are. And just to be completely open and honest with you guys, these advanced calculations are only available with some of our higher plans. So if you're on a plus plan and that's something that you have to be able to do, definitely get a hold of Chris or myself and we can get you in the plan that you need. Is there a pay report that does not put the owners on a separate page? Amanda, that 1099 report that I showed you will list the drivers and owners in alphabetical order. So it'll list everybody on one page. Right.
I'm talking about a weekly pay report that doesn't put when it lists all the drivers, the driver has 0 pay, and then on a completely separate sheet, the owner then shows the pay. Is there a way to keep them all on the same?
Sure. I'll tell you what, Amanda, get me if you can get me that in an email, I can take a look at it tomorrow. And if it needs to be something we send to our development team to take a look at potentially adding something like this, I can do that. So, send me an email on that and we'll get something figured out for you. Perfect. I am going to now jump into the MRP Live and how that connects with Westhold and Race Manager. So I assume this will be of interest to a lot of you guys because it's either Orbitz or Race Manager, so this will be pretty nice for you. I am going to jump into race management here for this event. Perfect. I've got 10 cars entered. That's the entry list that we're going to do. Oh, no, I don't. Yes, I do for the modifieds. There we go. 10 cars are entered in my modified class. If you're going to do demo mode for Race Manager, it only will read transponder numbers 1001 through 1010. If you're in a live environment, regular race mode, it won't matter. It'll just read the transponder number. But if you want to do some kind of testing or practicing in the sandbox, you want to make sure that those are the transponder numbers that you use. Quickly jump through here. Again, this is not meant to be a training on the creating lineups or things of that nature. We use our Wasoda Heat Race lineup function to calculate our lineups. There we go. We're saving as lineups. And here is MRP Live. And I have the MRP Live application open as well. The MRP Live application to do this is a third application. It's installable on your machine. You can get it right here, download application. That'll send you the file that you need to extract to be able to install it. Pretty simple process. If we go to download it here, it will download an exe that'll go into your downloads folder. I believe I've already downloaded it, so it's not going to show you that right here. But there's a Help Center article showing you step-by-step where to go. Let's see here. There we go. So basically, it'll take you to this setup wizard. It's asking me to repair or remove it because it's already installed. But for everybody else, it'll have you install it as opposed to repairing or removing it. And when you are done, it will bring you this application right here. This application, you need 3 pieces of information to get it to communicate with Race Manager correctly. First off, you want to select what live timing data you're using, Race Manager or Orbitz. Obviously, it's Race Manager. Race Manager will give you IP address and port number. So if I bring that up and you go to setup, you can see I'm in demo mode. The IP address right here, you take that IP address and put it into MRP Live. This is kind of a little bit of a confusing thing here because there's a port number listed right underneath of that IP address, but we're actually looking for the R monitor port number, which is almost always 50,000. There might be a certain situation where there's an outlier and you've done something different with scoreboards or whatever else and it changes. But for the most part, it's usually going to be 50,000 will be that number. So those are the two numbers that you put into IP address and port over here. And then MRP Live, the MRP Live code comes out of the race management application. When you go to the MRP Live tab, there's the code right there. Copy there, paste it right into there. We're good to go. Make sure this assignments path is, you know, something that where you know where it is and you can go in and look at it and things of that nature. And then we connect. Once you're connected, we're just waiting to get lineups basically at this point. So because I went in here, because I created lineups, my lineups are created. I'll come back into MRP Live. I'll press the Get Lineups button, and you'll be able to see right here, Westhold Modified's competitors, Heat 1 and Heat 2 have all been loaded. So what that tells me is that if I come in here to assign, there I see it. Westhold Modified's competitors, Heat 1 and Heat 2. I'll come over here to timing, pre-start, and think of this as hot laps. You can run your hot laps. You can finish that. You can stop it. Perfect. We're good to go there. I'm not actually going to upload a file because it's just hot laps. We'll come over to heat number 1 now, and you can see the 5 drivers that are going to be in heat number 1. We'll come over to timing for heat race number 1. Pre-start, think of that as when they're rolling onto the track. You guys obviously know how to use the live timing program here. We'll start the race. For me, it's showing a bunch of information and data that's not relevant or not applicable. It's because in demo mode, Race Manager is always going to use transponder number 1001 through 1010. It's because it's in demo mode. In a regular race, it would only show the 5 that are there. We'll finish the race. We'll stop it. Westhold Modified's heat race number 1 is complete. Checkered flag on that one. And now if I come back here into results, you'll see that there's last pending race, Westhold Modifieds. We're good to go there. I click MRP Live. I import. And there's my results. Again, you see it's all 10 because of the weird demo mode transponder information, issue that you got going on. But it automatically brings over the results right here. Reset the import. Perfect. Good. Good. This is all what you need. This and again, this isn't meant to be a training on race management, but this is where DNF comes into play, DNS comes into play, DQ, black flag, or no passing points. You can select all of those things there. If for whatever reason that process, the link is missing or something like that, it's not working for you, you know that when you complete a race in Race Manager, it also gives you an Excel document with the results there as well. That's where upload a file comes from. You can go and find the file in your File Explorer in that folder, and you'll be able to put it in that way. You can also just click their names or whatever else. But that's basically how Race Manager integrates with MRP Live. It's unfortunate that we're doing this in demo mode because it's not showing it's not showing it as it would. I can actually fix that problem because there's 10 cars. I can just roll them into their features. Perfect. There we go. So we've got our next lineup created. We'll click Get Lineups again. And when we go to Race Manager, we can see that A Feature 1 has now been uploaded. I'll go over to Timing. A Feature 1 cars are on the track. And now it looks like it will look on race night because I've got 10 of them. You can throw the green flag on A Feature 1. We'll let them get a second lap in here. This also will allow fans to go to live timing, MRP Live on their app, and they'll be able to see the live timing and things of that nature there. We'll finish. We'll stop. We got our good 3 laps in. Save A Feature 1. As I come back over here to results, Last pending race, 3/3/2021, Westhold Modifieds, A Feature 1. That's the last one to upload. You can click right there. All of those results have now been uploaded. That's how fast a process that is. It really is one click. And when you're starting talking about 24 cards in a feature, that's a lot nicer than trying to, click each one of them from over here and tie them in that way. Save is completed. Perfect. And that largely is how MRP Live ties into Race Manager. There's a couple of things that could go wrong here that we see most commonly. And I'll kind of show you some of these things. If you have the wrong IP address in here, it won't connect at all. It won't be able to find the machine. If you have the wrong port number in here, it will connect. It'll say it's connected. In the app, it'll tell you it's connected. MRP Live is connected. But when you go to when the races start and you start timing, it'll never actually show any results in that information, because basically the live timing computer is sending it out of a port that we don't have access to here because the ports don't match up. And so basically it'll always say pending results, pending results, pending results. It'll never actually give you any live timing data in there. So if you're connected but you're not seeing anything, you definitely want to double check that port number. If the assignments path is off, when you get lineups out of MRP Live, they'll never get received on the other end, so you'll never be actually see your competitors and races in Race Manager. And if the MRP Live code is wrong, then you won't be able to see any of the information that goes over to Race Manager as well, because it won't know where it's coming from, basically. There won't be any data there for it to pull, so it'll just never be able to pull any data at all. So if you're not seeing any data, check the assignments path, make sure it's going to the right place, check the live code. If it's not connecting at all, the IP address is probably wrong. If it's connecting but you're not seeing any results or any live timing, then it's probably the port number that's wrong. And if you feel like you've exhausted those options or you don't exactly quite remember what's going on, definitely reach out to us and we'll figure out what's going on. One thing that I would definitely always recommend is that if you're having a practice night, tie some transponders to a couple of cars, fire up your computer, fire up MRP Live, and test all of these things on a practice night, so you're not sitting there Saturday night, 7 o'clock, saying, I'm not getting any information and I don't know why. You want to make sure you have that on a practice night so that we can go back and look and say, hey, this is what probably happened, or whatever else. We can troubleshoot those things. That it was a very fast look at all the things that I had on my list here tonight. And I apologize. We went through the Race Manager stuff a little bit more quickly than I had initially intended, but you can kind of see some of the basics of how to make it work and things of that nature. If you have any questions at all at this point about anything that you saw, but specifically about Westhold and Race Manager, send them on over.
Austin, you mentioned running MRP Live on your practice night. Can you just real quick show us how to get into Sandbox Mode for those that maybe haven't been into Sandbox Mode? We can run everything in Sandbox Mode you've seen here except for MRP Live.
Yeah.
So if you want to take us there real quick, the one thing you can't do in Sandbox is MRP Live, unfortunately. That's why it's important to do that on your practice night. But for all this other stuff, just so you don't end up creating a bunch of fake data or what have you, we recommend you do that in Sandbox. You see there, he clicked from the dashboard, scroll to the bottom, there's a Sandbox link, and down the left-hand side, it turns to kind of an aqua color and lets you know that, you're in, basically test mode. So anything you do in the Sandbox is, you're not going to screw anything up. You can do whatever you want as far as creating point schemes, registrations, testing out online tickets, anything like that. Feel free to do that in the Sandbox.
Yeah, you just won't be able to connect to your live timing computer from the Sandbox. So that's why it's a good idea to always take this stuff out on a test and tune night or a practice night or something and do it that way. It's very valuable. Cool. I'm going to wrap the first session here pretty quick, unless you guys have anything else or whatever else. And if you think of any questions after this is over, send them to me via email. I can get back to you. But if you're here for WISSOTA purposes, I know that the popular way to do this last year, what I found out, was to put it into the messaging system off to the right. And you know, hey, I'm here from this racetrack or whatever else. I'm going to ask that we do this a little bit differently. I would like to get that information via email, so it's savable and trackable and things of that nature. So if you were here tonight, you can, you know, send me an email, austin.lloyd@myracepass.com. Give me your name and the track that you're with, and I can get that information to Callie, and then we can have that in a report and whatever else. And there's supposed to be a code, to be honest with you, that I'm supposed to give you guys that signifies that you were here, that you wouldn't be able to send to somebody else. And I just forgot to think of one. But as I look in my office, I see a straw hat hanging above my head. So just send me the word straw hat along with your name and the track that you're with. We can get that information off. Yeah, in terms of the actual Race Manager and Orbit's applications, just to be frank, I don't work for them. I don't know what those things look like. I'm outside of how it ties into MRP Live. So Race Manager and Orbit's both have you know, other options that they have online for training and tutorials and things of that nature. So if you're interested in how those things work, you know, I definitely get a hold of them. But in terms of, I'm really only going to ever be able to train on how to tie those things into MRP Live as opposed to how they work and their options and things. So I put my email in the messaging window. So if you just send me that email sometime after this or after the second session, after, you know, that works too. With the second session, we're going to be looking a lot more closely at race management. We're going to be looking a lot more closely at, you know, setting up races, the different lineup options that WSOTA has available, things of that nature. So make sure if you were around for this one and you're going to be around for more, I believe that second one is required by WSOTA as well. But thank you so much for taking time out of your evening. I really do appreciate it. I know lives are busy and things of that nature. So thank you for doing this, and thank you for sticking with me. And I'll see you after we all have some supper, and we'll be back in an hour. So thank you guys.